सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Friends, as we understood in the last session, we are in the area of working on non-communicable diseases, which is becoming a major issue in our health work. And World Health Organization has talked to us about total health of an individual as defined by this particular definition, and all the problems that we are facing today as non-communicable diseases or NCDs are traceable to lifestyle, and it is these lifestyle diseases that are all traceable to the mind, as we understood, because mind decides what you eat, mind decides how lazy you are about your exercise, mind decides about our craving for smoking and drinking, mind decides our habits, mind decides our stresses. Therefore, we understood that it is all in the mind, which is the root cause, and we understood also what are all the facets of the mind, the perception, analysis, memory, and what is the aspect of mind which we call as stress. It is nothing but our emotions, and we also talked about emotions which could be violent emotions and soft emotions, and inviolent emotions. It's the negative violent emotions which is which we call as stress, and the definition of stress according to modern science is not really the situation, but it is how we respond to the situation that we call as stress, and therefore this response to demanding situations, which starts in the manomaya kosha as an anger, fear or tension, when as a response to demanding situations, which is used by the limbic cortex, which is the seat of our manomaya kosha, is sense of heightened activity to the hypothalamus, and through that all the neuroendocrinal changes, and that is what we understood is the problem today as it happens in modern life, large number of demanding situations. We have no time to get back to normalcy, persisting imbalance, which becomes a habit, is the whole of the understanding that we have been able to gather in our understanding of psychosomatic diseases. We also went on to understand the most important definition of stress according to Indian thinking, where we gave the example of what happens in our mind when we say that I am very much angry or very much anxious. Uncontrolled, speeded up rewinding of sentences in the mind is the definition of all our negative emotions, where there is one common underlying factor, that is uncontrolled, speeded up repetition of sentences in response to demanding situation, be it an internally demanding situation or an externally demanding situation. And therefore, we went on to understand that the definition of stress, the answer to this is to get emotional stability by slowing down the rate of flow of sentences in the mind. And we also went on to understand that it is the rest which is the healer. So the rest that comes when we sleep, when we do these awareness practices, takes us to deeper rest than even normal sleep, is what we have to understand. And therefore all our practices are oriented towards instant relaxation or quick relaxation, deep relaxation, or deeper and deeper rest through cyclic meditation, etc., and helps people to move on to complete mastery, samatva, and efficiency. These are the four definitions of yoga that we have to reach towards. And we also now see how do we arrive at this. This is the whole of the technology of yoga. If our sages said about 30 years, 5,000 years ago, that the goal of life is to reach that Anandamaya Kosha, get established in that deep inner stable state of mind, then what has been the addition over the last 5,000 years? The addition is that we have learned techniques and techniques and techniques. So all these are techniques. Audible? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you are audible, Didi.
Okay, okay. So let us look at all the techniques and how each technique has to help us to move towards that Anandamaya Kosha, starting from Annamaya Kosha practices, which is diet or cleansing technique or asanas, or Pranamaya Kosha, which may be pranayama, or Manomaya Kosha, dharana, dhyana, meditation, or devotion, or Vijnanamaya Kosha, the happiness analysis, Anandamaya Kosha, the Karma Yoga. All these practices should help us to reach that state of deep inner silence and stability, and that is the whole of the understanding of the conceptual basis of yoga therapy that we are talking about. Another very important concept that we all need to work on is the concept of the um, Adhija Vyadhi that most of you are already familiar with. And in this concept of Adhija Vyadhi, what we really need to understand is the process of how this disturbance that started in the mind can percolate into the body. This is the most important additional aspect that our sages have been able to communicate to us in our understanding. What exactly we mean by this? This is what is very important for us to recognize. In all these conditions, we have understood that the whole of the problem is the concept of stress, which begins in the Manomaya Kosha, the Pancha Kosha concept of the human existence. In this Pancha Kosha concept of human existence, what are we talking about? We are talking about the five aspects. What are these five aspects which you are all very already familiar with in Annamaya Kosha, which is a physical body which is characterized by calcium, potassium, hydrogen, potassium, is the Annamaya Kosha. So all our problem of illness, sickness is happening in the Annamaya Kosha. And Annamaya Kosha is guided by the prana. The prana energy is required for continuous functioning of each and every cell in the body. So we have to supply a constant flow of prana to each and every cell so that the cells do their job efficiently. If there is too much of prana flowing to any particular organ in an inadvertent way, in an uncontrolled way, that leads to sickness. So uncontrolled, excessive prana flow to a particular organ in the body which has gone out of control and persisting and has become a habit is the definition of sickness in that particular organ. This is the understanding that you have to work on little more carefully as you go along. Then comes the Manomaya Kosha, which all of you all know, have understood as the mind, where we get into stress, and stress is Vega. And behind that, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the knowledge base. What are the two major functions of Vijnanamaya Kosha? The functions are the I, the knower, the doer, and the enjoyer, who carries this knowledge of what is right and wrong. These are the two functions of Vijnanamaya Kosha. The Bhoktrutva, Kartrutva, and Gnatritva. which is the I, the doer, the knower, and the enjoyer. See, you have slept, you are in deep anandamaya kosha, you have had good night sleep and deep sleep, and you are just waking up. When you just wake up, the first thing that arises is the knower. That knower has got three aspects. The knower, then you come out and then start doing something, the doer, and then you start enjoying things, the enjoyer. So these are all still the first layer of activity when you just wake up, that awareness. And then comes all the knowledge, the right knowledge, what is right, what is wrong. So this is the function of Vijnanamaya Kosha. The typical example you can give to your participants is that you are a diabetic, your Manomaya Kosha says, come on, this is a wonderful, interesting namkeen, I have to go and eat it. Then immediately your inner mind, the Vijnanamaya Kosha says, I, the doer, the knower, the knowledge giver, is directing, using the right knowledge, not to eat this sweet. This is your inner mind. That's your Vijnanamaya Kosha. Forward for Ananda, the blissful aspect of my existence. So this is our understanding. So once we understand this, then what is our disease? How does disease come up? The excessive speed that we have seen, which is percolating in the body in the form of excessive speed, is beautifully described in this shloka, which most of you may be already familiar with. How beautifully Krishna is describing that process of building up of vega, that speed. You think of an object, you are going on a window shopping, you have seen a beautiful, very, very interesting, very rare jewel. Okay, it's very rare jewel, very artistic jewel, very interesting. It was window shopping, so you just enjoyed it and you were remembering it. It's so beautiful and it was giving you joy. The vision of the jewel and the thought that it is so beautiful by connecting with your Manomaya Kosha and all that, it was fine. But when you added the thought that I want that jewel, then the problem starts. I want that jewel, I want that jewel, I want that jewel, I want that jewel. The desire built up. So we start, that jewel is so beautiful, was giving you ananda. But when you connected with your I, the Vijnanamaya Kosha and the Manomaya Kosha, I want it, and by having that I am going to get ananda, is the Ajnana there, is the misnomer there, misunderstanding there. You saw a beautiful jewel and you were very happy already. If you had stuck on to that ananda, there was no problem. But when you said, I want it, I am going to have it, and by having it only I am going to be happy, that is a misunderstanding. We ended up with some problem. So I want it, I want it, I want it. Sangaha deshu upajayate. Then came the intense wanting. You added one more sentence. It's so beautiful. I want it and I can't live without it. This is the infatuation or karma. Karma is, I can't live without it. I'm going to die because of that. I'm prepared to die for this. This is what is karma. Karma is not only sexual attraction. Karma is that intense wanting, ready to even die for that object, because I have already presumed that only by getting that object I am going to be happy. And I went on rewinding, 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 rewinding. It gave me so much of intense energy expenditure. And of course, once it is refused, we all know what happens. You get into anger, which is further vega, further rewinding of sentences, which further leads to disturbed awareness, sammoha, and then that leads to loss of memory, smriti vibhrama, leads to buddhi nasha, which we call as uncontrolled, speeded up, violent, stuck up state, where I have lost total mastery. So what happened? First stage, second stage, you had some mastery. From third stage onwards, kama, krodha, sammoha, smriti vibhrama, buddhi nasha, pranashyati, complete loss of control. That's why lack of mastery is the whole of the problem, is what they said. And therefore, we have to work on all these solutions. And therefore, our understanding of the technique of yoga to help us to reach to this state is the whole of the understanding. Another very important understanding that all of us have to work on is how this percolates into our body in our Panchakosha understanding. This Vega that we observed, which was creating the problem at the physical level, at the mind level, is speed persisting, gets transported into pranamaya vega. For example, I am very angry. Or you meet your friend and you ask him, my God, why are you so angry? Then she will ask you, how did you know that I am angry? Because looking at your face, I can make out. What is happening in your face? Your face is frowned and there is a lot of redness on your face. You are so looking so tense. What are you seeing? You are seeing the Annamaya Kosha, in which there is lot of vega, which has caused muscle spasm, which has made your blood rush into your face, which has made your face frown. All these physical Annamaya Kosha vega, which is a manifestation of your vega at the mind level, is what you are saying when you say, why are you angry? Why are you tensed? Why are you agitated? Why are you depressed? In all these emotions, what you are actually seeing is the physical Vega, which is a manifestation of the mind Vega. Mind Vega percolated through Prana Vega, made your cells respond with excessive activity, which is showing up as all these muscle tension or back pain or whatever. But in the example that I gave you just now, this Vega is a reversible Vega. You were angry, then you got out of the anger, and then you calm down, your muscles relax, your face relax, and you are fine. But what is our problem in a sick situation? The Vega at the mind level, which was persisting, suppressed emotion, has percolated into the body as uncontrolled Vega, and that has become a habituated Vega, and that is what is irreversible now. So that irreversible, uncontrolled Vega is causing a persistent Vega in your neck region, which you call as persistent neck pain. Persistent Vega in your back region, persistent back pain. Persistent Vega in your heart region, which is causing the arteries to get even blocked up through the early aging changes. Persistent Vega. So it's very interesting that today in medical science has been able to explain all these common non-communicable diseases in the language of inflammation. In fact, earlier we used to classify all diseases as degenerative diseases, neoplastic diseases, or genetic diseases, etc. But today we know in all these conditions, whether it is psychosomatic disease or whether it is a neoplastic disease or degenerative disease, all of them have got one common underlying factor, that is called inflammation. Cancer is due to inflammation. Early aging changes which leads to atherosclerosis is inflammation. Muscle spasm, which we thought is the cause of lumbago, the back pain, is due to inflammation. The slip disc, which appears to be due to some trauma, is because of drying up of the slip disc, which is also due to inflammation there. So all these NCDs are nothing but inflammation. Inflammation means what? Fighting. Fighting where? At the Annamaya Kosha. What happens when there is fighting? There is lot of blood rushing to that part, lot of white blood cells rushing to that part, lot of tightness in the muscles surrounding that area, lot of nerve activity that is sending out pain information to the head brain region. So too much of nervous activity leading to pain, too much of blood rushing leading to redness, too much of white swelling and water rushing and pouring out from the surface of the cells leading to swelling, color and lot of heat, all inflammation. Can you see the Vega factor there? Can you see that there is an enormous amount of activity going on that day? To produce that inflammation, what did you need? You need lot more prana in that area. Prana rushing to that part. How did that prana rush? Because it started as rushing of thoughts in your mind. So mind vega, prana vega, which became a habit, which you could not reverse because of habituated speed, persistent speed, resulted in habituated excessive prana in that zone. And that zone, now the prana is stuck. Excessive prana stuck in that particular area is resulting in inflammation, which over a period of time is resulting in a degenerative change or a cancerous change or a neoplastic change or a spastic spasm or whatever is the local pathology, which we can now see as a visible structural damage, which is maybe visible on a scanning, visible on a microscope examination, or visible even to the naked eye as a tumor or a inflammation or a swelling. So this is the understanding now that all our problem is violence, which started at the mind level. Therefore, when we say that these are all lifestyle diseases, whether it is a craving for junk food or laziness for exercise or for craving for alcohol and drinks or smoking or emotional stress, all are traceable to mind vega, physical prana vega, and settling down in the body as vega. This model of excessive speed is very, very important for us to understand because we are now offering a reversibility model. This is the very, very interesting component of our understanding. Right? So this is where we move on and understand how each one of these help us to reduce the vega. This concept of so-called adhija vyadhi. What is Adhija Vyadhi? All diseases are classified under Adhija Vyadhi and Anadhija Vyadhi. Anadhija, where it is the infection which is, or infection toxin, or some external agent that has caused injury, that has caused the damage. And even in Anadhija Vyadhis, there are three components. One is the external agent, the bacterial count that is important. But on the other side, we have two of our internal factors. One is our immune stamina and our environmental tolerance. So if yoga can be regularly practiced and immune system can be kept strong, and if our external environmental tolerance can be improved, we say, what is yoga? Samatvam yoga. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkheshu, Samaha, we say. So, Shita, Ushna, external environmental factors, we can develop that tolerance. And that tolerance to tolerate external environmental changes, that is achieved through silencing and calming down and retrieving back to stress-free state, is what is going to help even in anadhija vyadhis. But now we are all talking only about adhija vyadhi. Under adhija vyadhi, we have talked, there are two types as all of you know. The Sara adhija vyadhi and Samanya adhija vyadhi. In Sara, we say it is all congenital diseases. Why do we say it is congenital diseases? Deriving from the scriptures, it is said that Sara adhija vyadhis, go away through self-realization. Taking that as the end point, if we project it to the diseases which may go away with self-realization, then we can say that what exactly is self-realization? In self-realized state, you are a total master of all the programs that you may be born with. So all the problems of the mind level or even the physical level are reversible. That's why Saradija Vyadis, genetic diseases, are to be considered under Saradija Vyadhi. But what we are today interested is Samanyadija Vyadis, or the lifestyle diseases, where we should understand that although it all started as generalized Manomaya Kosha problem, which led to persistent sleeplessness, persistent irritability, persistent depressive feeling over a long period of time, which went on to some prana imbalances, which started showing up as a little bit of uh, breathing discomfort or gas formation or constipation or a little irritable bowel or musculoskeletal, three systems: the respiratory system, digestive system, and the musculoskeletal system. This excessive vega of the prana, which is still at the prana level, may show up at the mukha prana level as breathing irregularity as or respiratory speed. That's why we want all of you to record respiratory rate for all our participants. All sick people have got higher respiratory rate than normal people. Or it may show up as excessive yana with generalized musculoskeletal pain or generalized musculoskeletal discomfort, fatigue, or it may show up as excessive samana prana, which is in the form of poor digestive system, gas formation, distension, constipation, or irritable is a very common symptom in all our participants. So what are the common symptoms? They all complain of sleep difficulty, emotional instability at this zone, or breathing difficulty, digestive difficulty, musculoskeletal symptom. But remember, in all these stages, in this stage of the disease, there is no structural damage demonstrable by any of the tests. No scan, no microscopic test, nor any of the clinical signs are seen. No, but it starts to level of symptoms. The symptom or the prana excessive level slowly settles down in the organ. Which organ is selected is decided by the genetic tendency, hereditary tendency. So if there is a strong hereditary tendency for migraine headache, then this excessive prana now gets stuck as a habituated sudden migraine headache as soon as you get stressed out. There's a small situation that happens, immediately she ends up with a migraine headache. If there is a strong asthma tendency, allergy tendency, it manifests as allergy. If there is a strong back pain tendency, it manifests as back pain. If there is a strong cancer tendency, it may show up as cancer. This is our understanding. So, adhija vyadhi, samanya adhija vyadhi, vega, vega, vega. Vega settle down in a particular organ as a disease. Therefore, the entire understanding is to see that we reduce the vega at all these levels by reversing the process. What we understood until now is all vega which was manifesting downward trend only. So this is a reversibility model. So if your vega is stuck at the physical level, maybe as early aging change, for example, as a atherosclerotic blockage in your coronary artery. You have reached the end point, and the person had a stenting and therefore he is functioning. But tomorrow another artery may get blocked because we have not done anything about the root cause of the disease. Therefore, what we should do, we should teach him how to reduce the vega in his arteries all over the body. Therefore, when we come to the cardiovascular diseases understanding, we will make you understand how you will be able to reduce the atherosclerotic process all over the body in general and in particularly in your heart region by working at your mind level, prana level and the physical level, and therefore all our practices are to be geared towards this. Anyway, while I am talking about this coronary artery blockage, I am reminded of one of my patients who did a wonderful job with his health. He was a man who had a coronary artery blockage, and his, did I tell you this example last time? I don't know, I don't remember. I take classes almost every day. This gentleman had a coronary artery blockage, and he was in a research project actually. And last time, 1 year back, there was this LAD, left anterior descending artery, which was blocked and calcified. Calcified blockage means it's a long-standing blockage which is 100% blocked, and there has been natural bypasses that has developed, and therefore the person has been functioning all right. But what we showed in this research project of the 1 year follow-up project in which Dr. Manchanda of Delhi took up this study on Brahmakumari meditation and showed was 1 year later when they repeated the angiogram, the same artery had completely recanalized. This was a very fascinating example. We see large number of people where natural bypasses have developed and therefore the reversal of heart disease has happened. Their angina pain has come down. All these are very commonly seen. But this case was very unusual that the same artery got completely recanalized naturally. So I asked him, sir, tell me how did this happen? He told me exactly this reversibility process that he has actually performed, although he did not know what Vasishta is talking about in this Adijavyadi model. So what he said was, see madam, when I start my practice, I first do my breathing, I do all these physical practices, prepare my body so that the mind does not wander here and there. Then I do my pranayama. After the physical practices, I do my pranayama. And then I take about 10-15 minutes for this, and then I go into meditation. In my meditation, I expand and think of Paramapita, Parabrahma, Paramatma, the vast universal consciousness, who is the father of the entire universe. And then I enjoy that feeling so much that I get lost and I dialogue with the Paramapita, Parabrahma, Paramatma, and I am so happy and immersed in that. I forget my body, I forget everything, I am there, and after some time, I draw that universal energy of that universal godly consciousness through my breath and take a deep breath and then feel that that energy is entering through my breath into my heart. I imagine my coronary artery and then I actually use that energy to drill my artery, he says, and then allow that dirty air to breathe out into the vast space. So I do this several times. Merge in the vastness, draw that energy from the vastness through my breath. All imaginary it sounds, isn't it? But what he has been doing is that in that imagery there is so much of faith, so much of clarity, so much of single-thoughtedness or pratyaya ekatanata that he is able to draw that and experience that. I asked him, how long do you do this? He says, I do this as long as until I feel the actual flushing in my heart region. How long would it take for it to feel that flushing feeling? He says it may take about 5 minutes some days, it may take 20 minutes some days, depending on my preparedness, depending on my mental state. And he himself says, I am not surprised that you are seeing my artery flushed and opened up in your angiogram, because I feel this every day, he says. So what did he do? What did he actually do? He was able to feel that locked up energy in his artery, in the heart region, And by getting into that slowing down and silencing from the Manomaya Kosha, he was able to slow down the prana prashamana, and then enter into his artery by doing dharana in that area and doing dhyana in that area, or prashamana in that area, or expansion in that area. And that's how this locked up prana, which was causing that blockage in this artery, he was able to actually diffuse that by doing this slowing down. See, all these sound so something like a story, but I want, my dear friends, all of you to experience this. Whenever you have a little pain, see how your prana is rushing into that area, and how when you can put your mind on that area of the pain, your focusing is happening. All your attention is drawn to that area. All your prana rushes to that part area. And then in that pain area, you put your mind intensely and diffuse, 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 and then see how your prana just vanishes away. If you can do this experiment on small little pains, temporary pains, you just come and go, then only you understand what the sages are talking about. Let me say a very personal example. One day I was talking to some of our therapists like this. Prashanti Kutiram is a vast area, very open area, a lot of wilderness, lot of forest like thing. We were just walking, and then when we were talking, I was explaining this phenomenon of how prana focuses and how inflammation happens, how it is all manifestation of the mind followed by prana, and prana rushing into the part, producing an inflammation. While we are walking, a small bee, not the usual honey bee, this one other small variety of bee came and sat on my finger, on my hand, and it bit me. I felt a little pain. It was not a terrible bee sting, it was a small bee. And then I showed them, see, now the bee has sat there, and it's punching my skin. I'm feeling the prana there, and I'm feeling the pain there. What is pain? Pain is nothing but too many impulses going up the arm, right up to my head, which is sending me an information. Look, there is lot of pain, vega, vega, vega. And this is rushing my prana to this area. And now you are going to see that there is going to be a bleb that is going to be formed. Then the bee went away, and then there was a small little blood that formed, which is inflammation fighting to dissolve the toxin that was introduced. And I was just holding the hand like this, and then see now, lot of prana rush, lot of blood came. This is inflammation, this is vega, this is the speed we are talking about. Now let us reverse this. Let us say, okay, this prana is diffusing, slowing down. Less prana, diffuse. Slow down and diffuse, dharana and dhyana. Then I started diffusing, and within next 10-15 seconds, or maybe 1 or 2 minutes, the blood simply vanished, and my pain also vanished. So this is the small little experiment that you should do. We can only do with small little pains. When it's a very severe pain also, it's not so very easy. But regular practice is what helps these people to work on themselves in all these cases. So when we say the solution is to slow down, solution is to develop mastery over this prana flow, that through mana prashamana we say. So please stick on to this word prashamana, prashamana, prashamana. Every time you talk about yoga, use this word prashamana. So yoga is equal to prashamana. Mind prashamana, slowing down the mind. Prana prashamana, reducing the prana flow to a part. And then Sharira Prashamana, deep relaxation. When you're doing deep relaxation technique or Shavasana, what are you doing? You're doing Annamaya Kosha Prashamana, or you're doing Sharira Prashamana. Prashamana means relaxation, rest, slowing down, calming down, easing down. So at the point where the disease is stuck, the example I gave you was a short-term acute problem. But chronic pains, chronic imbalances, chronic disease, chronic inflammation, chronic damage, chronic autoimmune disease, chronic degenerative diseases. In all these, there is only one thing which is to be made prashamana of, and only then we will be able to develop that mastery and change the whole scenario. This is what we mean by the reversibility model of yoga therapy, where the sage Vasishtha is making us understand how prasava happens, how disease comes down in the form of vega and constriction, and how pratiprasava can happen, returning from this vega can happen. And I would like you to read Amrit's a paper where he has been able to publish this concept of prasava and prasiprasava in cancer. So even cancer is a reversibility model. Back pain is a reversibility model. Depression is a reversibility problem, because we learn first understand, but how to do it, it requires a lot of techniques. So what we mean by this is kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum, to react, not to react, or change our reaction patterns to our situations. So therefore what we understood is stress is a response to the demanding situations. And what we tell all our participants on the very first day is, yes, you have got a long list of demanding situations of your life. You have come here to learn how to change your responses to demanding situations. In fact, I am reminded of one big IT professional girl who had come to us, and she is in her 40s, reached the position of a vice president of a company, very big name, very well performed professional in her company, but in the family, lot of discomfort. And obviously, mother-in-law, father-in-law, very culturally oriented girl. She just never wanted to just take another house and move away from the family. Children are growing up, and then she was getting very irritated and getting uncomfortable. In fact, in her dialogue with me, she said, "Madam, I have come to Prashanti because nowadays I started getting occasional thoughts of even divorce, which I just hate. That's why I just wanted to come away and then work with myself or do something about it. What I should be doing, I did not know. Therefore, I have come." And this girl, within 2 days, she says all our participants get admitted on a Friday. And on Saturday evening, she says, "Madam, I want you to join tomorrow, Sunday. I have called all my family members to come to Prashanti's because tomorrow Sunday. Please, I want you to join our group." I said, "What is this? You came away because you wanted to escape from other family problems, and you had so much long complaints to tell about mother-in-law, father-in-law, husband, children. You wanted to escape. Why did you call all of them? You should have stayed alone." "No, madam. This particular line was enough for me to correct all my problems." "What do you mean?" I asked her. She says, "See, that first line, this line, kartum anyatha akartum anyatha kartum yogyata, I have to change myself." See, all the time I was thinking the problem is the mother-in-law, problem is the father-in-law, problem is my husband. They keep on provoking, they keep on irritating, they keep on finding fault, they want to change my behavior. And why they should not change? Because they are irritating people. So I was always expecting that the problem was outside. But this very sentence, this first definition of stress, helped me to introspect myself. Look at the capacity of this girl. Within one particular thought that was given to her, she has introspected for 48 hours, and she says, "That thought I started working on. Yes, problem is my mother-in-law. What is the problem?" She gives me some insulting sentences. Then what happened in my mind? I reacted, I responded, and it created a lot of discomfort. So problem is my mind which is causing this response. Father-in-law, husband, he said this. I went on looking at many of these situations which are bothering me. And in all these situations I could see that the problem is my mind, therefore I can learn to change the mind. So let me try to change it. try to change. And these just 24 hours of practice took me to slow down, and now I can see the whole thing in a totally different perspective. And this lady says, Doctor, I don't think really my father and my family is really as bad. It was all my making. See, I am there sitting in my office as the big boss, and I expect myself to behave like a boss here, which I cannot because they are the bosses. So I should learn to change. I have changed, and therefore I thought it is a family reunion day tomorrow. I have absolutely no problem. Just one sentence. Look at the grandeur of our sages who tell us how just that understanding helps us. And this is possible for intellectuals today because we have all become so intellectually strong that it is our intellect which is creating and camouflaging the whole thing. That's why we say Shruti Pramana is very, very necessary, and we should work with ourselves. And as I was telling, all these are the techniques now. So in the techniques, what is our aim? Aim is all these level, we have to reach that state of total mastery, total slowing down, total prashamana, and therefore how to reach that prashamana in our diet. In our diet, what is our aim? Mastery over the mind, prashamana of the mind. So what are the types of foods that make my mind excessively violent, excessively speeded up, excessively going out of control in that vega? Those are called rajasic foods and tamasic foods. So those foods which are making my mind very violent and aggressive are the tamasic foods and rajasic foods. Tamasic foods which make you much more violent, much more, so much more violent that it gets locked up into laziness and dullness. And rajasic are those which make you highly excited and emotional. Sattvic foods are those which food make your mind calm and composed. Therefore, the definition of sattvic foods, all those foods which affect the mind, improve your autonomy, strength, health, cheerfulness, etc., are all called sattvic foods. And those foods which make violent are these spices. And we are going to talk about that at a later stage, or you have understood all that. I'm not going to go into that. Now, one more important point that all of us should understand in our lifestyle change is the role of exercise. Now, there is a lot of evidence in today's language, today's world as to how exercise is an important component of lifestyle change. Yes, there are a large number of papers, lot of evidence. In fact, today's non-communicable disease World Health Organization promoting lifestyle is all based on changing diet and exercise. In our language, what does exercise do? How does exercise help in producing such wonderful results? What is that component of exercise that is helping them? How does exercise help in mana prashamana? How does exercise help in mind mastery? How does exercise help in chitta vritti nirodha is what is very, very interesting. Maybe we will take it up in another session where it is said that when we say there is a prana imbalance, lot of prana is coming to the head region, and when we do exercise, we diffuse the prana from the head region to other parts of the body, and there is a freedom felt in the mind region, and that is the mechanism of exercise which helps us to develop this. Coming to kriyas, maybe in another place when we are talking about any specific condition, I may talk about how kriyas are not just a physical activity or not just a cleaning of the internal passages as it is commonly understood, but these kriyas are real mastery over the body functions by developing mastery over the basic fundamental reflexes of the body. This is the whole of the understanding of the Kriyas. All Kriyas help us to develop mastery over the basic protective reflexes which when get exaggerated causes the disease. This is our understanding of the Kriyas. Kriyas therefore help by giving strong stimulation followed by deeper rest so that we get mastery over those reflexes. Asanas. How do asanas help in mastery over the mind is what is very important to understand. All asanas are classified under meditative postures, relaxing postures, and cultural postures. Meditative postures help in keeping the spine erect so that you don't fall asleep and your mind can be directed towards the object of meditation. Relaxation postures, as we know, help in taking away all the tone in all the muscles so that it is completely uh, rested, completely supported with complete effect on the body resting on the gravity so that we can go into deeper and deeper relaxation part by part. But there are a large number of the other 380 or 400 asanas. We call them all as cultural postures. What do we mean by culturing? What exactly we mean by culturing? What does Patanjali say about it? Is what is very important for all of us to understand. Asana, we say by definition, is Sthira Sukham Asanam, as all of you know. Sthira Sukham, stable and ease maintenance in the final posture or enjoyable maintenance in the final posture effortlessly is the definition of an asana. So when we start teaching an asana, what happens? We put in a lot of effort. Unless you put in an effort, you cannot reach the final posture of an asana. Therefore, there is a lot of prayatna. So we have to push until the shoulder comes across in Ardha Matsyendrasana, and only then you will be able to reach the leg. It is a lot of effort. You are tightening the thigh, tightening the leg, tightening the waist, tightening your neck, pulling your hand. So a lot of prayatna is there. And after that, today after 5 days of continuous effort, I have held my big toe, which is very enjoyable, and the left hand has not yet reached the thigh, but we are still trying. So this prayatna is necessary for us to start learning an asana. After you have done prayatna only, we come to the actual definition of asana, which says sthira, stable. Now you maintain very stably in this particular posture. And you have to also enjoy that posture. So for that, Patanjali is giving us two important suggestions. What are they? Prayatna Shaithilya and Ananta Samapatti. While you are holding in the final posture, you start doing a Prayatna Shaithilya, means go on relaxing the parts where there are unnecessary effort. For example, you look at this part, there may be a lot of tightness there. Relax the neck, relax the forehead, relax the chin, relax your face, relax the thigh, relax the knee, relax the other parts where there is no effort necessary. So now, in fact, if you start doing this, you will realize that if you have really reached the final posture of an asana, you can relax all the parts. So consciously pass your awareness to every part. Relax. And then you are supposed to do sukham. For that, what you do? Close your eyes and then think of the vast space in which the body is seated. Look at the imagine the vast space in which your body is seated, and then you start feeling that expanded awareness in which your body is just sitting there and you are just observing the whole thing without thought of any other activity that may be going on. So what have you done? You have expanded your awareness, relaxed your body, mind has merged in that silence. Tato dvandva anabhighataha. Mind now merges in no thought state, not even the duality of I am observing my beautiful body which is sitting there in a relaxed way. That is the understanding of Tadodvandva Anabhighataha. So that is how every asana has to be performed. And when we perform an asana, what really happens is, for example, Ardha Matsyendrasana, this zone which was being stretched at the back is the part which gets totally rejuvenated because of the deep rest, local rest to the stretched part with awareness is the benefit of a cultural posture. When we say that an asana cultures a particular part of the body, that part you have become totally focused, your awareness, your mind is concentrated there. In that part, you are giving such a deep, relaxing, and restful suggestion that this zone gets much more deeper rest. That is the understanding with which we are going to design asanas later for the sick part of the body in our special techniques. So working like this, we move on in pranayama. It is a prana imbalance that is being created, and you are going to correct all the pranic imbalances, and for that we start with simple breathing exercises. Breathing exercises, when we teach, we combine three important instructions. One is slowness of the movements and synchronization of the body movements with the breathing movements, and exhalation longer than inhalation, so that the slow deep breathing leads to mastery over the excessive speed of the prana, balances the prana, and reduces the overall sympathetic activity. And all these asanas you are all familiar, and therefore these pranamaya kosha corrections, which is basically prana prashamana as we have understood, slowing down of the prana. In yoga, we do it by my own self prayatna through awareness and practice. In Ayurveda, we call it as tridosha balance, which is brought about by lifestyle and medications. In homeopathy, they use this word as vital energy balance, again done through lifestyle and external agent called medication. And in acupuncture, they call this as chi imbalance, uh, where they remove the blockages by external agency called the acupuncture or the acupressure. So compared to all other systems where we do understand the role of lifestyle and correct the imbalances, here is the only one where I do it for myself with self-awareness, internal awareness, and recognizing all the imbalances from within. And that's how yoga can be added on to any of these CAM therapies, where the self-awareness component complements any of the other medicines that are being used. So therefore, we have understood that the prana imbalances have to be corrected by slowing down process, not by counterposing another prana. So coming to the directly to the Manomaya Kosha, obviously we have to work on reducing the speed, and we use the concept of cyclic meditation, which we may take up some other time, or some of your teachers would have already talked about it, how by using these three specific concepts, Sage Gaudapada helps us to go into deeper and deeper and deeper rest, where you give a stretch followed by rest, stretch followed by rest, stretch followed way, then it would remain at a particular level of rest. That is what happens in cyclic mind type transcendental meditation, as we saw. But we give a stretch followed by another different type of stimulus, another subtler type of stimulus, subtler type of stimulus, deeper and deeper and deeper rest, you get into deeper relaxation. Then coming to the devotional practices, most fascinating. How they defined the devotion is itself a big change in our understanding. What is our understanding of devotion? What is our understanding of bhakti in the normal sense? We say yes, there is a great intelligent force that runs this entire universe, which follows so many laws of nature. So there is a Godhead, and we have to be respectful and getting the grace from that. But here is Narada who says God is there or not is less important. But what is the definition of bhakti? Definition is parama prema rupa. So that intense feeling of love that arises from within you is the definition of bhakti. So that love that comes to a mother for a child is also is bhakti. The love that comes to you when you are in the hug of your beloved is also bhakti. The love that comes from your heart when you see a pat a dog is also bhakti. So bhakti by definition is prema. And this prema, which is limited to my child, my dog, my husband, my friends, my objects, my degree, my name, my money, has to now become a love for the universal consciousness. And that universal consciousness is called God. And that love, if it matures from my limited love to limited objects to the highest form of love called Parama Prema, then it shows up in the form of total surrender. Small little, I am reminded of one very unusual example. I used to be in my school car in our, I had just completed my degree and joined a job in one part of the Bangalore in Madikeri, where one doctor was in love with a nurse. It is very common. And this doctor had become a drug addict, Pratidine addict. And this girl who was in love with him was supplying pethidine to him. She was not addicted to pethidine. He used to ask her, what nonsense are you doing? Why don't you stop him from doing it? Because he can sacrifice anything for your sake. Because he loves you so much. She says, no. I have become, because I love him so much, I have identified his needs, and therefore I cannot but supply the pethidine to him. Although I know it is very dangerous and I can change it, I cannot change because I have totally identified with his needs. That is the surrender. So look at that surrender. She has surrendered to his needs, although in a very negative way, very terrible way, very horrible way. But when there is love, there is surrender. I identify with the other person. And this is exactly what happens if you surrender to the universal consciousness, that you identify with the Godhead, you identify with the divine, and therefore you become the divine yourself. And what is the divinity? It's all giving, 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 and therefore you start giving and sharing to everybody. So what happens? All our violent emotions get replaced by soft emotions, and that is the whole of the understanding. So in our integrated approach, are you seeing that in every level you are actually reaching that state of internal deep quietude, the Anandamaya Kosha. Then, of course, in our Vijnanamaya Kosha operation, we have the Sukha analysis. All of you, I'm sure, is familiar with this concept of happiness analysis. which you have written about in your YAC lessons. Happiness analysis, you eat one Rasgulla, you are happy, second Rasgulla happy, third and fourth Rasgulla you are not happy, fifth Rasgulla if you are asked to eat, you become miserable, showing that you are not, the sukha is not in the object, and then you start working on this concept and move on to help them to reach that state of understanding that whatever Vishaya Bhoga that we get or the object happiness that we get is also only to touch the deep inner silence, and that is the core of our inner being, and that is the state for which we have to work. For that we train them in dharana and go on to dhyana and bhakti, which helps us to move from complaining nature, move on from complaining to tolerance, to acceptance, to total surrender, and appreciate and overcome the problems. So this is how we understand that all these techniques are available. Now, when we go into get into a specific disease situation, how you are going to bring out this in that particular disease, and what are the practices you are going to select, how you are going to select, what you are going to do, what you are not going to do, will all be discussed from the next session onwards, and we shall work on this. Thank you. Hello? Are you all with me?
Hello? Yes.
Yes. Any questions?
Let me see. Yeah, we have a question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If we just, it's in the message box.
Mm-hmm. No.
Vatsala, go ahead and read out. Yeah.
Message box comes sometimes, but it does not yet come now.
Yeah. Vatsala, can you read out for Didi?
Okay. It says, if we just focus attention to a body part in asana, how does it help to cure disease in that body part? How can we experience convinced that prana will flow to that particular body part just by focusing our attention? Can you please help explain this in a bit? Appreciate the help.
Yeah, this is the most difficult aspect, which is the understanding that the sages are trying to help us to get that. That's why I thought I gave you that small example of the bee sting, in which you not only understand that there was a prana rushing to that part when the bee stung me, and when I diffused the prana, this swelling disappeared. This is a simple example of a short-term inflammation, but the same process has to happen repeatedly when you want to work on the chronic diseases. Have I answered your question? Do you think I have answered your question?
Didi, we have one more question.
Can I go? This is Mona. Can I go?
Yes,
Mona,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Didi, I have a question. My name is Mona. And I always actually think about this in the back of the mind with bhakti yoga. Because here you also suggest that bhakti can be towards a person. But bhakti towards a person in the sense that we want to identify with this person and be one with this person will go away. It's of temporary nature, right? Whether it's a person, a child, a dog, money, all can be temporary. And I understand the difference between attachment and love, and we don't want to be attached, that's fine. But it can still go away, where it's not identifiable anymore. So is bhakti even beyond that?
Yes, yes. See, it's something like the typical example given is to make us understand that the process is the same. That's like the example given about the happiness analysis. When you eat a sweet, you are in that silent state. That example only we should take and give up the agency and stay in that silence, and that's what is permanent happiness is the example that is given. No, exactly similarly, when you are in the caress of your friend or when you are caressing your baby, what has happened? That bhava that comes of deep love is an example of how you should hang on to the love component and give up the agency and then stick on to the highest form of love. So that doesn't mean you have to be all the time you only with your friend, and that is called bhakti. Bhakti, that's only prema, that's not parama prema. Parama prema is possible only if you can get established in that eternal love for the eternal universal consciousness all the time. That is the sadhana. I hope I have answered your question.
Okay, so I'm understanding that it's a glimpse of an example of how the love should be, and we should take that and go beyond. Is that right?
There was one more question, I think. If something is wrong and instead, no, second question. In inflammation, was possible.
We have a
What's the
question.
next? What's the next question?
If a patient comes to us and she needs scientific numbers to be convinced initially more than spiritual concepts, where can we find supporting information to convince him or her?
There is enough evidence. Therefore, it's important for you to download any disease that you take. You put the disease name, say for example back pain, and then put stress, emotional stress as your keyword in your Google or in your PubMed, and then keep enough data to show how stress works on the back pain. How stress is so very important even in sleep disk. How stress is important in cancer. How stress is important in any of these diseases. Once you have that evidence in front of you, and then you put the evidence of how yoga has worked in that particular disease, then you have the scientific evidence for what you are doing. Therefore, it is important for us to keep enough evidence to show that how stress is working in this particular disease.
Need help keeping your digestive balance in sync? Try Line. It's the number one GE recommended probiotic that helps maintain.
Baby?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
There's one more question.
Yeah.
If something is wrong and instead of doing something to set it right, we tolerate, accept and surrender, how can this be explained as a goal?
As long as you are not going to be suffering with the problem, you can use any of these techniques. See, whether you are going to respond, answer back to a problem, or whether you are going to swallow it, or whether you're going to ignore it, how you are behaving outside is less important. But inside, how much it is disturbing you is the major factor, is it not? Say, for example, somebody has insulted me. I am terribly angry. I may shout if the situation permits me to shout. If the situation does not permit me to shout, I will suppress it. Both of them are not good. But what yoga is teaching you is, can you say that, okay, I don't care, let that person insult me. I have the freedom not to feel insulted. Why should I react? This is what is yoga. Yoga teaches you to be a master. Once you're a master, you can use your emotions the way you want. Say, for example, your child is not doing the homework. What will you do? You say, hey, if you're not going to finish the homework in the next 15 minutes, you're not going to see your cartoon today. You're showing your red eyes, you're showing your tight face, you're showing your anger. But is this going to cause hypertension in you? The answer is 100% no. Why? Because you're only enacting an anger there as a master. Because you love your child so much, you know that you have to show anger. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be getting lost in your anger. So this is very, very important that you behave like a master and not like a slave. So how you are going to show it? The situation you may not have changed at all. Same way you would have been behaving outside, but inside. Okay?
Okay, there's one more question though.
Yeah.
It's from Anita again. It says, in inflammation, more prana is in the area due to activities. It is possible prana gets blocked or too less when the area is frozen in the body. In that case, do we still do meditation?
Do we still meditation? Yes. There is an inflammation, there is a prana excess flowing in that area, then you do two things. If you are a therapy-oriented person, you actually go into that part, give a stretch to that part, you concentrate on that part and diffuse the prana in that part, then that part gets out of inflammation. But another thing that you can do is just let body do what it wants. Let me de-identify myself from the body, get lost in my meditative state. Then also body allows itself to be relaxed. Giving you an example. For example, a person this used to happen. We used to have a large number of asthma patients. When the lady, she understands this, when she gets into a severe episode of asthma, what happened? Breathing is very fast and there is a lot of irritation, cough coming up. This lady would actually recognize that, okay, this is Vega and my mind is getting lost in my panic. So she would just immediately de-identify herself from the body and start chanting Om, 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 and get lost in that beautiful meditative state and let the body suffer the way it wants. And then after some time, the attack would be gone. This is one way of handling the situation. Another person we would have taught, the same person also we would have taught, but another person would say, okay, now I can see there is a koi sound coming from the inside my chest. So let me open my chest and then move my hand in and out, hand stretch breathing, in and out, in and out. Focus deeply in the point of the where the wheezing is arising from, where my bronchus is very tight. Breathe in, breathe out, slowly stretch my hand. As I stretch my hand, I feel my bronchus relaxing, wheezing going away. So I will use awareness of the part of the point of the wheezing, where the sound is coming from, enter into that point and work to dilate and relax, and from there expand into your vastness. So both are techniques that we use. Using from the body level was the technique that the person used. Using Manomaya Kosha was the technique the other lady used. Both of them leading to finally Mana Prashamana. Okay?
Okay, Didi, we have one more question.
Okay.
I think this is the last one. Should we keep our attention to that part all the time during meditation, or just focus for a moment and then let you go? What is the correct way to bring part to particular body part?
If it is working for therapy, then you first start intense focusing on the part, which is itself going to take a long time because most of the people with the sicknesses have got lost their concentration capacity. Their mind would be very random. So you spend a lot of time, a few weeks, before you can help them to learn to bring the mind to concentration, focus on the part of the body, maintain the attention for a long time on the part of the body, make them understand that you are going to relax the part of the body, and that itself will give them a lot of relief. Therefore, as a therapist, when you are, say for example, you are working on neck pain, the mind is so distractible and random, you start moving the neck and gently and then maintain in a gentle stretched part, bring his attention to the pain part, and he is feeling a little pain and starts worrying. As soon as the worry comes, the mind is random, distracted. Therefore, you have to change again, change again, change again. So it takes maybe 2 sessions or 4 sessions or 8 sessions before you can teach him this concept of keeping the mind on the point of the pain fearlessly with no distraction, and then diffuse the pain and then get away the relaxation. Then move your attention to Ananta Samapatti, where you leave the body, get out of the body, merge yourself in a space, and then get lost in that Ananta Samapatti, Tatot Vandvana Vigataha. All that will happen, then he is really cured of his problem. So a lot of our sessions are basically meant to bring the mind from randomness to concentration to dharana. That itself is all our technology. All our special techniques are basically to work on that. Okay, we will probably understand it more when we talk about individual diseases also. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Didi.
Thank you, Vatsala.
Thank you. I think we are done.
Okay.
No, I don't see questions.
Okay, namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Didi.
Namaste. Thank
Namaste. Namaste, Shilpa. Namaste, Anita.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste, Vatsala.